Good afternoon, everybody. Happy almost Friday. Here we are. It's Thursday, March 8th, and we're back in Mama Kahn's kitchen. And again tonight, we're going to be making one of my family's favorites. We're going to be making mac and cheese. Our version, I happen to think it's the best ever, so we're going to start from scratch. I'm going to plug you in here. You're going to see my stove, and we'll be off to the races. So hold on a sec. We'll get you in. Okay, you can see. This time I want you to see the Revereware pat, because that's where the action's going to be happening this time. So I have water boiling. I am going to be boiling up about 4 cups of macaroni. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to be making a white sauce. So I'm going to turn my stove top burner on to about medium, and I'm going to put in a quarter cup of the butter, and I am going to yeah, I'm going to say a whole lot today apparently, but we're going to start melting that. Oh, one other thing. When you cook your macaroni, in this case, you don't need to add salt to this water because there's going to be salt in this and it'll be salty enough. So this water's got a nice boil going on. So we're going to get that on there. Get our wooden spoon over top so we don't have any boiling over. So there's that all set. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes on that, so we have al dente, and we are now melting up the quarter cup of butter, and as soon as I get that melted, and you can see it's melting in there, maybe you can, maybe you can't, let's try to, there we go. You see it's melting. It's going to be hard to see it, I guess, but we'll keep trying. Maybe if I lift you up a little bit. Let's try that. That's better. Okay, now you can see in the pot. Okay, so we're melting that butter, and when I get that all melted, I'm going to be putting in a quarter of a cup of flour so that I can make our roux. That's the base of your white sauce. So I hope everybody had a good Thursday. It's been very exciting over here at the Kahn household. We had the township out to take down one of the trees in their fence property next door. Came down and it just pulled up out of the ground, and it hit one of my trees, which pulled it up out of the ground, and the 2 trees proceeded to get stuck in another tree, which is the classic widowmaker. So the township was kind enough to send somebody out to take care of their tree, and then I asked the guy, look, you know, can you just get rid of this for me? How much are you going to charge me? And he gave me a very good price. So, you know, gonna have to get out there with a chainsaw and clean up the mess, but at least it's not stuck in the tree and I don't have to worry about it coming down and taking out my power lines or a car or any of that other stuff. So that was our excitement for the day. How about you? Everybody looking forward to the weekend? Looks like the snow will be a no-go again. We're just gonna get rain. I'm certainly not going to complain. Okay, we have our butter all melted. So now let's add in this flour, and we're going to get that. I like to use a whisk. That way everything gets nice and, you know, we get all the lumps out. We're going to cook this for about a minute. We want it to be well combined and somewhat cooked. I always look. You'll start to see it brown a little bit. but you want it to be real nice and creamy like that. We're going to do this just a little bit longer. You know, I have to wonder how those pros like Rachel Ray and what have you do this on TV, because you got to find things to talk about while this slow stuff is happening. And sometimes I sit here thinking, I don't know what to talk about. But those of you who know me long enough know that I can usually think of something. My mom used to say that I was vaccinated with a Victrola needle. Nice of her, huh? Okay, well, that's looking pretty good. It's a real pretty lemony color. It's starting just to brown a little bit. So then, what we're going to do... Oh, there we go. We want it to get bubbly. And it's just starting to do that now. It's just starting to bubble up. So that's perfect. What is my watch telling me? Oh, it thinks I'm working out. There you go. All right. So, now that we're good and bubbly, we're going to start to add. What I have here is 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream and 2/3 of a cup of whole milk. There's nothing dietetic about this, people. I'm not going to lie. This is full fat, full yumminess. We don't eat it all the time. This is a treat. But we're going to add this in slowly so we can get everything incorporated. Okay. So we're going to keep whisking this. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. We're going to keep whisking this because this is where the white sauce magic happens. This is going to thicken up. And what you'll notice as it starts, you'll start to feel it. You'll also see that it starts to get sort of creamy and very, very shiny. And this is going to get quite thick. So, doesn't take too awfully long, but once we get done that, we'll add the salt and pepper. It's a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of pepper. Of course, I use my Tastefully Simple seasoned salt and seasoned pepper because I think that just adds another texture of, you know, another layer of flavor in the profile. So I can already feel that it's starting to get a little thicker. You know, this takes a couple of minutes. You know, it's Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is white sauce. I can remember, I guess, the first time I learned to make white sauce was when I was in junior high, and Mrs. Wolfenden was our home ec teacher, and we made white sauce for something. But some of you watching will remember Mrs. Wolfenden. Or at our house, as we called her, Aunt Ruth. But yeah, you can already feel that it's starting to thicken up. So it, you know, it doesn't take terribly long, and honestly, this is worth the effort. It truly is worth the effort. So, not that this makes for really, really fun TV viewing, because it doesn't, but, or, you know, video viewing, Facebook viewing, whatever, you know, I mean, that's not terribly exciting, but, you know, sometimes cooking isn't terribly exciting. What's exciting is the end product. So, we're just going to keep at this. And once it really starts to go, it starts to go pretty quick. I have to keep holding on to my handle because my pan wants to spin around. And the whisking part is important so that you don't scorch anything on the bottom of the pan, because that would be unfortunate. you would taste that. It would flavor your white sauce. So we're coming along here. Yeah, there's that dead air again. Not quite sure what to talk about. But once we get this all mixed up, we're going to add the salt and pepper, like I said, and then we're going to take this off the heat. We're going to add the cheese. And what I have is 1 1/3 cups of cheddar cheese and 1/3 cup of mozzarella. So we're going to add that to the white sauce. So now we have a cheesy white sauce. And ultimately what will happen is we'll add the cheesy white sauce to the macaroni. And then we will pour half of the mixture into our prepared baking dish that I've sprayed with non-stick spray. And then we are going to put a layer of, don't be appalled, Velveeta slices. That's like the secret ingredient. Now, if you really don't like Velveeta, you could use anything. You could use cheddar. You could use, I would use a flavorful. You could put a pepper jack in there, Cooper Sharp. Any of those things would be good. But you can see, if you look, you can see, hopefully you can see that this is really getting thick now. It's very shiny. And, you know, it gives you, you know, you can start to see turn the pasta off. You can see your whisk marks. I don't know, can you see that? You can actually see your whisk making marks as it goes through. So it's kind of like, you know, if you've ever made instant Jell-O pudding, that's about how you want it to get. See, it's starting to look almost like I'm mashing potatoes or something. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to add the salt and pepper real quick. Get that mixed in here. And we are going to turn the heat off. And now we're going to add the cheese. And what I'm not going to use is my whisk when I'm putting the cheese in, because I just don't need all that cheese stuck in my whisk. So here we go with all that cheese. And again, I took the time to shred this myself because it's going to melt better. That pre-shredded stuff has a hard time melting because it has cellulose over it to keep it from sticking together, which makes it hard to melt. Now, I will tell you, when you do this, when you add the cheese, it gets really thick. I mean, like, seriously, look at that. This is really thick. But that's what we need to have happening. So we've got it going, and it's nice and thick, and it is all mixed up and melty. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to step out for a minute. I got to drain the pasta. Be right back. Did you move your cart?
Yeah.
Okay. I made a mess.
Got a bunch of wood shavings on it now.
Yeah, well, we both do. Discussing the mess that is all over our cars from having the tree removed. So, alrighty. Let me just move that around a little bit. I like to use elbow macaroni when I make my mac and cheese because it holds on to the cheese sauce pretty good. All right. So I'm going to go drain this. I'll be right back. Pardon me. You know, it's funny, the son that just walked through actually graduated from Temple with a degree in media and communication. Do you think he might help Mom with this? Nope. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna get this cheese sauce right in here with the macaroni. Look at that, oh, the yumminess. The cheesy goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna hold on to this and we're gonna mix this all up. And you can just see, look at the mozzarella is doing its mozzarella goodness. Just, that was fresh mozzarella. It's a little harder to shred, but I power through. Okay, so now we're just gonna grab, that's still hot. Okay, we're gonna do it over here. All right, I'm going to take half of this and put it right there. Ooh, look at that cheesy goodness. Oh. I am, with this dinner, I'm also going to make some stewed tomatoes because that tastes so good over top of your mac and cheese. Okay, so here go the Velveeta slices, and they're going right on there. Let me see if I can lift this up. Okay, now you can see. Okay, so we're going to just put these slices right on there, and that's like the middle layer of yumminess. That just takes this mac and cheese over the top. Okay, so we got that done. Now for layer number 2. Put this right on top. Pardon my pot being in the way. I'd like to get all of it in there. Okay, there we go. So, we're going to spread this out over top. And then, in my microwave, I have a 1/4 cup of butter that I am melting. And I am going to add that to 2/3 cup of panko breadcrumbs. That will go over the top. Okay, let's get this stuff out of our way. And let's see if that's melted. Not quite. You always want to do that in stages because, you know, if you're not careful, the next thing you know, it's bubbled up all over the place. But what I did was I put the butter in a pretty good size. Oh dear, I see me microwaving my... Okay, another 10 seconds. If you're not careful when you're microwaving your butter to melt it, it can bubble over and it's all over your microwave. And trust me, just did that the other day. Okay, so here we are. We're all mixed up. And we're just gonna mix this right up here. again, I may whip the mess. Okay. And then we're just going to sprinkle this over the top. So that goes over the top like so. And then because I really like to make everything, you know, we eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouth. So I like to make these real pretty. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of paprika over the top. That'll just make it look pretty. Add a little. I've used the smoked paprika. That's good too. But here we have it. That's a whole tray of macaroni and cheese. It will bake in a 350 oven for, hold on a minute, 20 to 25 minutes. And that's dinner. So I hope you enjoy this. I'll get you the recipe. It'll be on my Facebook page, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're having leftovers, so we're probably going to be talking about wine, because that's, next to food, wine is probably my second favorite topic to talk about. So tomorrow it's wine. All right, probably talking about red. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night. Thanks so much. See you soon.